Good morning, class. I am your physical education teacher for today. My name is Maria Julina Hawam and you can call me Ma'am Jules. So are you guys ready for our exciting lesson for today? So am I. But before we begin, I want you to take a look at the board and read our learning objectives for today. Michelle, can you read it please?
Learning objectives. At the end of the lesson, the students shall be able to determine the 3 disciplines of motor behavior. B. Understand how skills are learned and developed. C. Identify the importance of motor skills and other related topics.
Alright, thank you, Michelle. Before I forgot, I have here a hard copy for our discussion. Can you distribute this one as per your copy? Thank you. Okay, let's start. So class, I have a question for you. What comes to your mind when you hear the word motor skills? Anyone? Hannah, yes, please.
The tasks that require voluntary control over movement of our body.
Alright, that's correct. Motor skills are the tasks that require voluntary control over movement of our body. So motor skills refer to the body's ability to manage the process of our movement. So to execute motor skills, our brain or a person's brain, muscles, and nervous system must work all together. So can you give me an example of motor skills? Riding a bicycle, correct. What else? Walking and running, that's right. Another. Weightlifting, perfect. Yes, jumping, correct. What else? Exercising, very good. Wow, you're doing great, class. So, all those examples that you mentioned are an example of motor skills. So basically, motor skills refers to the body's ability to manage the process of movement. The learning and performance of these skills are what movement that the researchers and scientists refers to motor learning, motor control, and motor development or our skill acquisition. So does everybody understand?
Yes, Mom.
Okay. So motor skills has something to do with our discussion for today. So our topic is entitled Motor Behavior and its 3 disciplines, which are motor control, motor development, and motor learning. So let's start with motor behavior. So motor behavior is the study of how we produce movement. So in motor behavior class, it is focusing on how we learn, how we control, and how we develop to assist to what we practice and experience. So in psychological and neurophysiological investigation of motor behavior, it is divided into 3 disciplines. Number 1 is our
Motor control.
Very good, our motor control. So Mark, please stand up and read our definition of motor control.
Motor control is the study of posture and movement. It is defined as the process of initiating, directing, and grading purposeful voluntary movement.
Okay, thank you. So motor control is the study of posture and movement. To control movement, our nervous system must integrate multimodal sensory information in both from external world as well as the proprioception or what we call our kinesthesia. So basically class, it is the sense of our self-movement and body position. Okay, next is motor development. So what is motor development? Yes, Valerie?
Motor development refers to the development of a child's bones, muscles, and ability to move around to manipulate his or her surroundings.
Okay, so motor development class is the physical growth and strengthening of a child's bones, muscles, and abilities to move and touch his or her surroundings. So motor development is divided into 2 sections, which are gross motor development and fine motor development. So, do you have an idea about the difference between the 2? None? Okay. So, gross motor development. Gross motor development involves the development of the large muscles in a child's body. So, in gross motor development, large motor skills like being able to walk, sit, stand, run, balance in one foot, throwing or kicking the ball is using a larger muscle movement. So let's proceed to fine motor development. Fine motor development, it involves the smallest muscles of a child's body, especially the hands and fingers. So class, in this motor development, small motor control skills concerns the development of the smaller muscles compared to gross motor development that uses
Larger muscles.
Larger muscles, correct. So can you give me an example of fine motor development?
Pick up a crayon.
Yes, pick up a crayon. Very good. What else?
Holding a crayon.
Yes, holding a crayon and move it on a surface. That's correct. So class, they can also learn on how to tie shoelaces, string beads, and cut with the scissors. But before young children master that task, they need to build their hand and fingers strength and control through playing. Motor development also involves the child's vestibular and proprioceptive system. So, do you have an idea?
None, Mom.
None.
None? Okay.
Vestibular and proprioceptive system are both part of the child's sensory system.
Okay. Letter A. The vestibular system. Vestibular system is located in the inner ear and allow the body to maintain balance. Letter B. The proprioceptive system. It involves the inner ear, the muscles, joints, and tendons. So maintaining balance and posture and coordinated movement are only possible if our proprioceptive system is functioning well. So let's proceed to motor learning. Can you read the definition of motor learning, May?
3. Motor learning. It is defined as a set of internal processes associated with practice or experience leading to relatively permanent changes in the capability for skilled behavior.
So motor learning is defined as a set of internal processes associated with practice or experience leading to relatively permanent changes in the capability or skill behavior. So in other words, class, motor learning is when a complex process in a brain occurs in a response to our practice and experience of a certain skill. It results to changes in our central nervous system that allow to the production of a new motor skills. So there are 3 stages in which motor learning occurs, and these are the cognitive stage, the associative stage, and the autonomous stage. Letter A, the cognitive stage. During this initial stage of learning, the goal is to develop an overall understanding of skills. So always remember, class, that cognitive stage is the first stage. Movements are slow, inconsistent, and inefficient, and the large parts of the movement are controlled consciously. So the learner must determine what the objective of the skill is and begin to process environmental factors that will affect their abilities to produce the skills. So letter B, associative stage. During this stage, the learner begins to demonstrate a more defined movement through practice. In this second stage, class, movements become more fluid, reliable, and efficient, and some parts of the movements are controlled automatically. Now that the learner has had some practice and has identified various stimuli that may occur, they can now focus on how to do, moving on from the what to do in the first stage. So lastly, we have the autonomous stage. During this stage, it is the final stage of learning. So the motor skills become mostly automatic. So in this stage class, movements are accurate, consistent and efficient, and movements are largely controlled automatically. So the progression to this level of learning allows the learner to perform the skill in any environment with very little cognitive involvement compared to the first stage, which is
The cognitive
the
stage.
cognitive stage. Very good. Always keep in mind that the learning process can take different lengths of time for every individual, and the progression can be dependent on a variety of factors such as motivation of the learners, feedback received, environmental stimuli, organization of practice, and the presence of musculoskeletal and neuromuscular impairment. So next, we have the 5 characteristics of motor learning. Letter A. Motor learning is an internal process that cannot be observed from an external perspective. This means that how much an athlete has learned is an unknown factor from an outsider's perspective, because motor learning takes place inside the learner's brain, and the muscular movement are only a reflection of a brain's activities. Observing motor performance provides only an indirect assessment of the learning process of a learner. Letter B. Motor learning is a set of practices for the purpose of reaching specific learning objectives. Letter C. The goal of motor learning is to form the designated motor behavioral habits through proper training. Letter D. Once a motor skill is learned, it becomes relatively permanent and will not be easily forgotten. One of the examples, according to Smidge and Risberg in 2008, once an individual has learned how to ride a bike, he or she will never forget how to do it. Letter E. According to Wang and Yang in 2012, motor learning is not volume-free, and it can be negatively form a bad habit that is extremely hard to be changed once it is formed. So let's proceed to our final discussion, which is motor performance. Motor performance is an end result or outcome of an existing motor skills that can be observed from an external perspective.
Motor performance. Example scenario. I am your coach on a tennis game, and I can see how you as a tennis player actually plays a game and how you perform during practice or competition. So, you as a tennis player's your motor skills for performing a forehand or backhand stroke or for serving can be purposefully observed or accessible your coach or instructor. Practically speaking, since motor learning takes place in an internal fashion in a learner's brain, one of the effective ways for an instructor to understand how much a student has learned is to observe his or her performance, which indirectly reflects the student's learning progress.
So does everybody understand?
Yes, Mom.
teacher.
Okay. Do you have any questions or clarifications?
None, teacher.
None? Okay, good to hear that all of you understand the lesson that we discussed today. I am grateful and very happy that you learned something from me. And I hope that you keep it as we go to our another lesson. So in order to test your understanding, kindly copy the following activities for your assignment and evaluation. Copy this in a one whole sheet of paper and test this tomorrow. Okay, so goodbye class and see you again tomorrow.